Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Brother Sister Show, a family owned and operated podcast where two siblings keep in touch by talking about movies. This week, we're talking about X, T West's newest horror movie. But before that, we normally spend some time to catch up. So I will actually start because I don't have a whole lot. Just spring break, chilling, procrastinating, and now I'm like scrambling. But
Do you want to first address the elephant in the room? I brought you. You probably wonder why I brought you here today. You need to reconcile with your nephew.
Okay, yeah, your dog hates me. I don't get why.
Sorry, we didn't plan to talk about this, but we have to. That now that Randy is here, and he's been whispering in my ear, saying like all these terrible things about you.
But so I go to because our parents are watching him.
Yeah, well, they did.
We're watching him because you were at South by. You were in Austin the entire week. I get there. I go up to say hello, and he's sitting. Maybe it's because he's like protective of mom, but I like went to go say hi to him, and he just snaps at me every single time I try to like pet him or be nice to him.
And I mean, he's kind of not just to small children. He's not very nice. Like he doesn't like small children. To some dogs. But to people in my life, he doesn't really have a bad reaction. Like with Homer, he really likes Homer. He really likes Emily. Like he likes everybody. The only experience I've had where he doesn't like somebody is with you. And it's consistent.
It is consistent. The only time he was nice to me is when I had pizza in my hand. And I was like, you're so fake, bro. You're the worst. He's a demon. I'm convinced.
He just wants to say sorry.
Or I'm a demon. I don't know. It's like it could go either way.
That was it. I just needed to address that.
Yeah.
Get the conflict resolved.
Kayla and I, because of
Speaking
Randy.
Of animals.
No, not because of Randy, but we've been wanting an animal for a while.
Right.
We've been like split between getting a dog and getting a cat.
Which is wild to me because I feel like you hate cats.
I don't hate cats. I like them. I've met a lot of cats that hate me and just like scratch me.
And but Ari likes you. That's the weird thing too, is my cat likes you.
Yeah. I don't know. I like Ari. He's cool to like he doesn't lay down with me or anything. Mm-hmm. He's just like, you exist. Yeah. What's up? I think it would be cool to have a cat and like, while I'm doing work, just like have it chill. Mm-hmm. Around me. That would be nice. Or like while I'm watching a movie. So we've been thinking about getting a cat because dogs are a lot right now.
It's very funny to me.
Why, you just can't imagine it? Or
no, I can imagine Kayla having a cat. I just feel like she likes I get the vibe that she just loves animals no matter. I think her and Sebastian, I feel like are just so similar. And Sebastian loves animals, like any animal. He's never met an animal he doesn't like. I just don't picture you with a cat. I don't know why I feel like you don't like them, but maybe it's just your allergies. Don't agree with.
It's only some cats though, because Kayla's cousin has a cat, and
you're fine.
Yeah, we're chill.
I think it's a great idea, and I think for that reason, it's your reasoning is perfect because my experience with having an animal myself is when I lived by myself before Sebastian moved in with me, I had Ari. And it's exactly that. Like he's so chill. I got very, very lucky because he's so chill. He cuddles, obviously. Like he's been all up on me this week or today and last night because we were gone for so long. Mm-hmm. But it's nice to have like something to come home to, like a companion. And like what you said, to have, like, I can picture it already, to have a little cat tree behind you and they're just hanging out.
Yeah. So we were actually thinking of like getting advice from you. Like I was like, oh, we'll just call Livia and ask. Cause like we were like not on the edge, but like we were like, all right, well, let's start this process and like reaching out to you. Cause like I think you and her cousin are the only people we know who have cats. So that was like the next step. That was like it getting real. It's like, all right, we'll talk to a cat owner, see what's up.
Do you want to do it now? I mean, you can ask. Let's for the sake of time, maybe what's your most burning question?
Okay, this is kind of selfish,
No, go.
because
You have to. I
um
mean,
but
it's you
like I
have to be
have a
kind of
lot of
selfish.
wires and a lot of
Oh, got
wires
it.
that
Yeah, yeah,
like for these headphones, I can't just like easily replace the wire. I'd have
yeah.
to get a
Hmm.
whole new headset or a whole new one. And they're kind of expensive. And I have a bunch
Yeah,
of wires hanging around behind my computer. I feel like it's like a playground for these cats.
yeah. I'm
Just like
looking at
to just
my headphones, the same ones I have, and there's bite marks all on them. Um. So, what are you asking? Like, do you have to? Like, what are you
do I have to
saying?
worry about that? Is that like a every
Um.
cat thing, or is it just like
It feels like. I mean, I think everything depends on the cat you get, but I
mhm.
would just operate off the assumption that it's probably going to happen. For some reason, he only really does it. He does it to my stuff, like all my wires, but he mostly does it to Sebastian's.
Mm.
Um, it was a big issue when we had a 1 bedroom and we didn't have an office that we could shut the door on. Um,
Uh,
so that is not as big. Like if you have like what you have now, where you can just remember to always close the door. Um, then that usually will solve the problem. And then usually when I'm in here, like he can be in here when I'm in here, and um, I usually keep an eye on it, and you can hear when he's chewing something. I don't
yeah.
know why he likes wires. There's also, if there's something like your headphones, for example, or something that's harder to replace, then they have on Amazon, or I've seen them on Amazon and I want to get them, but they have like a coating that you can put, like, those like, uh, I can send it to you, but they have like a thing that you can put on your wires. It's like, it protects it. It's like an extra layer of protection just in
Oh, I
case.
see.
So that's the thing. Like, there's always going to be a way to like prevent it, or if you just have really good wire or cable management, it'll prompt you to do that, so that you don't have a ton of exposed wires.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Well, like I said, we're still like talking about it because it's expensive as well. So
yeah, those are my pieces of advice, but again, we'll have a call about it later and we can update on how your process is going.
yeah.
It is
So
a lot. It's interesting, but I think a cat is a good way to kind of like ease into owning a pet.
mhm. So yeah, that's all I have. And then I saw not really there's not really a nice way to segue into this, but it segues
Yeah,
into the next thing.
right.
Is I saw one of the films that was at South by, you told me, but it
Mm-hmm.
premiered at Sundance called
Mm-hmm.
Master with Regina Hall is streaming on Prime Video. So please check it out. It's fantastic. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Um, she's fantastic in it. She plays a college professor dealing with race at a primarily white school. So like
Oh
that was
man.
very interesting to see
Mm-hmm.
since I go to one. So
Man,
um,
man, oh man. Yeah, it is like what is a good transition because I there's a few movies that were in Sundance that uh were at South by and I couldn't see a lot of them. That
mhm.
was one of them. Watcher was another one that I just couldn't fit it on my schedule.
Oh, yeah, that one's a good one.
Yeah, but I am kind of glad. I was gonna try to make time for Master, but then I was like, no, I want to try to do the ones that probably I won't see on a streaming service or at the movies soon. And then I didn't even know it was gonna be on Prime, so like so fucking early. So I'm kind of glad I didn't see it then because I get to watch it anyways. I'm excited though because I didn't. A lot of the movies that I watched, I didn't read any sort of synopsis for them, so I went in blind. And so just hearing that as the premise, I'm very excited to see what
Yeah,
that's
please go
about.
check it out. It's awesome to
That too.
see like because they're all slowly getting
Mm-hmm.
theatrical releases, like
Yeah.
just the ones from Sundance.
Well,
So South by,
the big
it has
one.
happened. You're done.
It yeah, it's so strange. I thought I'd be really sad, but honestly, I think a week long festival is perfect because I had I didn't tweet about it because I was like, remember when I tweeted about Cha Cha was smooth and I was like, but I'll be back tomorrow. Psych, I didn't stay. Because I don't know. I was thinking about going to the Atlanta premiere and just thinking about it when I was at brunch with some of my friends. I was like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
I'm ready to leave. Because another thing too is it feels like a lifetime, once in a lifetime thing, but it really isn't. Like I'm gonna go in again next year. So it feels like that was great. Excited to do next year because I've learned so much about how to do it this time. I got to meet some cool people in line. Like people are so nice in line. Just like I had so many cool conversations. I towards the end of it, I kind of shaped my schedule with like what people were talking about. Like I kept hearing things about certain movies.
Oh, nice.
And I made it to every single premiere I wanted to.
That's good.
But I will say I do have one experience with like I guess a celebrity that kind of like I said, I don't really care for meeting people for any of this stuff, but there's one person, and I will leave them nameless because I just whatever. They don't. The story itself is funny. I don't need to say who it is. Where I've nicknamed them the Ghost of South by, because truly every single screening, not every single screening, but every premiere that I went to at the Paramount, or when I went to the one at X, which was in a different theater, they were at every single one. And I couldn't escape them. And I think it's because I don't know if I've said anything about this person in the podcast, but I know I've said it in like just life in general that I don't like any of their performances. I think they just make weird choices. I've kind of talked a little bit of shit about this specific actor. And before South by, I've seen them in Austin before. So it's not even just like a random occurrence. Like this has happened where I watched a movie of theirs. I didn't like it. I was like, this is so bad. And then they were like, and we have a surprise. And they were there for a Q&A. And I wanted to leave because it was just such a bad movie. And I just sat there listening, acting like I cared about, how this movie was made.
So fake.
Anyways, so so many screenings I went to, I would just either look around while I was on my phone, or I wanted to save my battery. So I just like looked around and like spotted some people. This motherfucker was there every single time. Or when I was for X, it was like I was like, oh, okay, I wonder if this person is here, because I've seen them, I've heard about them the entire fucking week. And then I didn't see them at all. And then when I was leaving, he was like standing right at the fucking exit. But the craziest one, and the reason that I wanted to like talk about this is because at the very last movie I went to, I of course saw this person, and I was like, oh, this is kind of funny, I guess. Like this is the ghost of South by that's haunting me. But when I went that last night, I usually had Sebastian like drive me places. But I had to take a lift home. And so I was, looking around because it was at night. Austin looked so beautiful at night. So I was, looking around while we crossed the bridge, and I looked to my right, and this fucking guy was on his bike right next to my lift. And I left early. Like I didn't really want to hear the Q&A. I just wanted to go home. And he was right there. And so
wherever you are, he is there.
He will follow.
He will follow.
I can't. And I hope next year, when whoever goes with me, that what's probably gonna happen is I have this whole story, and then I'm never gonna see him ever again, and people are gonna think I made it up. But yeah, that was kind of cool to watch movies with like the people in the room, especially one instance, and this can transition to like the movies I'll talk about, because I broke it up into two categories: what to look out for. So like what, I guess kind of that, like what you're saying, like Master is on Prime now and you're like excited to see it again. Like this is kind of the same type of movies I'm talking about, where like if we hear about it being released, or you hear about it on a streaming service, then you need to see it. And then the ones that I feel like you can miss, that I didn't really enjoy as much. I loved the experience, but there's some movies that I was like, ooh. The first one I'll talk about, which is probably, it might have been my favorite that I saw, called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Yes, I've heard a lot about this.
This one, this is the one that I'm most excited for people to see. And I think A24 didn't give an exact date, but they said, because somebody in the Q&A asked like when it's going to be out, and they said summer. So be on the lookout for that. A24, they're the movies that they're coming out with that I've seen are like pretty solid, with the exception of X. But even then, it's like still not a terrible movie. I think it's they've got a solid lineup coming out. And this movie is just very much my shit. Like, I don't know if it's the best movie that was made and that I saw during this week, but it's exactly what I want. It's like a group of 20-year-olds. Well, the concept is a group of 20-year-olds. They have like a hurricane party, which I don't know if I've ever heard of, where they just go to one of their rich friends' houses and just like have a party while there's a hurricane happening. And shit goes down. But yeah, it's super funny. There's a lot of movies that I watch that I feel like we're trying to have a good humor, in their movie, but it didn't really hit as well. But this one, every single joke that they had was I laughed so much.
They landed. That's good.
Yeah, landed every single joke. And it had some good twists. I think I've heard people say it's like Scream meets Clue. And and also like Knives Out, like that kind of vibe. It's very good. Very excited for people to see it. All right. Next one is the premiere, the very first movie that I saw, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Oh my gosh.
Holy shit. This is truly, when does it come out? Like in a couple weeks or?
I think this upcoming week.
Maybe we can do this one because I have a lot to say about it. And it's truly one of the craziest movies I've ever seen.
Really?
It was insane. It was such a good opener though, because I feel like it set the tone very well for what the week was going to be. Because a lot of, I don't know, maybe it's just that's a South by thing, but there's so many crazy movies that I watched.
I'm so excited for that movie.
I can't even begin to explain what happened in it. It's like, if you read the concept of it, it is truly like as crazy as you would imagine it is. But it's also so beautiful. And the only thing I'll say about this is, well, also, a lot of the Q&As can be cringy. And I think I've said how much I don't like Q&As on this podcast. This Q&A, like every single question that everybody asked, like from the audience, was a banger. Every single question was so fucking good. And it made me love this movie even more. I hope like maybe I can try to find it somewhere because I know people record it. But so good. And one of the questions, I think people asked about like the themes of mental health. This doesn't spoil anything. But one of the directors, because it's directed by the Daniels, and one of them, I don't remember exactly which one, but he talked about how when they made the movie, when they were in the process of making the movie, he didn't realize until after that he had undiagnosed ADHD, which I think I've talked about before, but I've also like had to deal with. And I feel like that was such a big, I'm excited for you to watch it or somebody else other than me, because the craziness of this movie, it's still, even though if it's crazy and I don't know how to explain it, it still made so much sense to my brain. And I feel like that's why, because my brain and his brain are wired so similarly that this felt like I feel like my dreams are crazy and don't like and just make no sense, but that's what this movie feels like too. Like it felt like it's a product of somebody that has the same brain as me.
That's
cool.
Yeah. This is my cool. I think I mentioned it the first episode of the year. This one's my most anticipated of the year.
And I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think you're going to really love it, and I'm very excited. I think we should do this movie for like its own episode, so I'm not going to say too much, but I'm very excited to see it again.
Nice.
Next is The Lost City. I was really excited for this one because I thought it'd be funny, and it's exactly, I think everybody keeps saying this that I've, seen watch it. But it's exactly what you want it to be. It's a fun summer adventure movie with attractive people. I don't know. It's what you want it to be. It's not surprising. It's not disappointing. It's, The Lost City. The next one, I think one that you put on your watch list, called Emergency. This, It was, first of all, an amazing thriller. I didn't expect to be as like on the edge of my seat the entire time. And even though our theater had a ton of issues for some reason, like, and it was so embarrassing because I think the director, the DP, and then the editor was there. And there was a few times, I think 2 or 3 times in the movie where the video just stopped working. And they put it like, they kind of fixed it in a few minutes, but it was like, it was just so embarrassing. I can't imagine you work so hard on a movie and when you show it that you have so many issues. So that kind of sucked. But it didn't really spoil my experience watching it because I thought it was a solid movie. It has pretty clever but not like too on the nose social commentary that I really liked. This is another one I think the ones I'm talking about, I mostly knew something about it, but Emergency I knew nothing. And so I thought it really delivered on the whole, like, I don't know, like I feel like there's a subgenre of like just something taking place over one night and everything keeps going wrong, like that kind of thing. It does it really well. Okay, and then Cha Cha Real Smooth. You have seen this, correct?
I have seen this and I really loved it.
I also loved it a lot. First of all, the title's amazing. Second, it just feels like a classic indie. Like, I don't know if I've seen an indie like this. Like it reminds me of the ones that I like first fell in love with when I started watching independent film.
Like Short Term 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like,
that same.
It just feels so, I don't know, it just feels like the spirit of like an indie, every time I see a new movie from this, I mean, I know it's like the second movie I've seen from this Cooper Rafe. I really love his work, but I really hate him because he's like 23.
Yeah,
so
he's
annoying.
super young.
It's like, I really admire him, but I hate him. It's like that kind of thing.
Oh, 100%.
Because holy shit, he really knows exactly what kind of movie he wants to make. And it's really annoying.
Yeah, his voice is like so clear too.
It's so fucking annoying, but it's so good. That's why I'm so mad. And I guess a fun fact about this movie, or so they introed it to us because it was basically, I think it was the last movie that I saw, and the intro of it was the director of South by, or of the film part of South by, was saying that they were going to premiere his first movie, Shithouse, at the South by that I was supposed to go to. Like, I was so excited to see this movie. And then obviously they canceled it a week before. And then his next movie, this one, was going to play at Sundance. And then obviously he didn't get to premiere it at Sundance because it went all virtual like a week before. And so this was the first time he had shown any of his movies to a live audience.
A live audience, yeah. Which is insane.
Yeah. Which is crazy. I didn't even think about that. And Dakota Johnson was there because she also, this was the first movie that her production company made, which apparently she has a production company. So that was cool to like experience that with them for the first time. Because it was so good and everybody loved it. It felt like, I don't know if it got a standing ovation. It might have. Yeah. Oh no, I forgot to list one, but I'll talk about it now. Another one that I unexpectedly really loved was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal. That movie is really, really good. I'm also very excited to see it again.
Yeah, it's a long title, but
it's such a bad title. And I thought it would be, I thought it'd be kind of disappointed, but it was really good. I really liked it. And I think a lot of people are saying I've seen a lot of people say it was their favorite of the festival.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not surprised because I think people had really low expectations for it. But very good.
It feels like a South by film.
It is. It's not. It
feels perfect for it.
Next one is a short film that I saw. The only ones that I saw were the Midnight Shorts. And all of them are pretty good, but I think this one won the grand jury for shorts. Probably not, but it was my favorite. And it's called Mushari. I don't know how people can see it, but if there's a way, I know a lot of them go on YouTube or something, but This is definitely one that I would keep an eye out for, or at least put in your watch list, because it's the concept is very clever. It's very creepy. It also has a lot of heart in it, so it's a good um, mix of everything in a short film. And it's very contained too. So I really love movies like that. Um, then there's Soft and Quiet. So this is definitely one of the most controversial movies, I think, at the festival. Um, I don't want to give a lot away. I will say to if you are interested in seeing it, but you need like I don't I maybe you should learn a little bit about it, because I went in blind. I knew nothing about this movie, and I fully almost had a panic attack. And another woman in the theater did have a panic attack. So I maybe read up about what this movie's about. But if you can stomach a lot, I would say to go in not knowing anything, because it is very jarring. But I feel like that's the experience that the director wanted you to have, because it's about a subject that is not it's not light. And so I'll say how the director introduced it. When I watched it, she said, I think this isn't verbatim, but she said the movie is about what she has to lose. And that's what I'll say.
All right.
At least for you, Anthony, I think I would want you to watch it not knowing anything, because the experience of that is just insane. And you at least have a chance to, like, if you watch it at home, or if you're able to watch it in an environment like that, you get to pause it if it's a little too much, because I think right. if I was able to watch it at home, that's probably what I would have done. But I only have two more. So another one called Deadstream. This was one I was very excited for, because it's found footage, and it really delivered. It's really silly. It's a play on words of, like, live stream, because it's about a guy that live streams stuff, or he's like kind of a jackass kind of guy, where he, like, does crazy stunts and does stuff that scares him. And so the next thing he wants to do is to stay in a haunted house. And he live streams the whole thing. Okay, and the last one to be on the lookout for was another favorite of mine, and it won the grand jury this year. And it's called I Love My Dad, with Patton Oswalt, and the director is also the main character. Like, well, I guess Patton Oswalt's kind of the main character, but the director is in it, and he plays, himself, because it's based on a true story. And the only thing I'll say about it is it's I guess the log line, or like what it's about, is it's about the true story of the director's dad being, estranged from him because of issues that they had. And he just wanted to know what was going on in his life. But his kid had blocked him on, like, everything, including social media. And so the dad's solution was to essentially catfish his son with a woman's funny profile. And so you can imagine the kind of territory it goes into. And it's so... I can watch a lot of horror. Cringe is so hard for me to take, and this was a very incredibly hard watch for me. Especially the showing I went to was, I think, the last screening, or maybe not the last screening, but one of the last screenings of it on Friday. And this screening, the director's dad was there, and this was like his real dad. And it was the first time he had ever seen it. He didn't know anything. He didn't even read the script. His dad knew nothing about this movie, other than obviously the real story that happened. And they brought him up for a Q&A, and he was very sweet. I think he could tell, it's like it's a weird thing that happened. So it's good that his son, like, brought it into his art form. God, but just, if you ever see this movie, and I'm sure people will, I mean, it won the grand jury, so I'm sure it's going to be distributed somewhere. Just imagine watching this with the actual person and the actual dad. Oh, and then not even just the dad, but like the director's mom, and then his stepmom. So, like, the entire family was there. And there's certain scenes and certain things that happen that's like,
whew. Hard to watch.
Yeah. But
dang,
really good. Yeah, I'm excited for people to see it to see all these movies. Now for the ones you can miss. I'm not gonna be at like mean. This is just movies that I would be like, they sound like they'd be cool, but I didn't really enjoy them as much. Under the Influence, I liked this documentary by Casey Neistat, but unless you are really interested in learning about like, what a psycho David Dobrik is, I feel like people won't really want to know, or at least like know everything about the story anyways. Because I didn't learn too much new things. Like I feel like I could have just seen the highlights of it and been like, oh, okay. So that one I feel like is a miss. There's one, I don't know if I want to say you can miss it, but there's a movie I was really excited for called Bitch Ass, where it's about the first black serial killer. And I just feel like if they would have had more time and a bigger budget, it would have been such an incredible movie, but just the limitations were really glaring. But I would say to keep an eye on for the director. And if you do want to see the movie, I feel like it's a good way to, like you can see the vision, of like what he wanted, and it just didn't really work for me. There's another movie called The Cellar, another Midnighter that I saw. And it's basically Insidious, but if the demon really liked math. And that's not even kidding. I'm not kidding at all. There's a lot of counting. There's a one of the parts is, or one of the creepy things about a house that they moved into, it's like a haunted house kind of thing, is that there's a formula written into the concrete.
Like Interstellar stuff.
Yeah, I guess, but if it was horror. And it was bad. There was certain scenes that were kind of cool, but I guess catch it when it's on Shudder. It's probably going to be on Shudder. There's another one called The Prank with Rita Moreno. I was so excited to see this, but it just was like, it was a very meh movie.
She wasn't there, was she?
No. She did there was like a little video of her introducing the movie, which is kind of cool. But a lot of the people that made the movie were there. And I really like, a lot of these are just like, I think the filmmaker can do like cool stuff. Just maybe just not this one, I did like to see Rita Moreno. She was like in a very different kind of role, like kind of playing a bad guy, which I've never seen her do. So I think it was cool to see that. So I'd probably recommend it if you want to like see her do something different. And she's obviously great in it. But I don't know. I think I just was expecting a lot from it, and it really didn't deliver on what I was expecting. And the last, which is probably the saddest one to me, was a movie called Spin Me Round. It's a Jeff Baena, like if you've seen Joshi, like he's done like those movies. And it has Alison Brie, Aubrey Plaza, Zach Woods. Like it has a good cast, but Debbie Ryan. But it's just like, it's not, I don't know. It just didn't really deliver for me either. I just felt very disappointed by it.
Dang.
Yeah.
I was looking forward to this one.
I was looking forward to it so much too. And I'm glad I didn't I almost like skipped out on a different movie to make the premiere, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. And this is like one of the only ones where the director wasn't there. And I was like, I'm kind of glad, because I don't think a lot of people liked it.
Yeah, he did Horse Girl too. Yeah.
Horse Girl, yeah. That's the one that and it's kind of like, the concept was pretty funny. There's some funny-ish moments, but Aubrey Plaza kind of just like, I don't know, maybe I don't know if this is a spoiler, but like she's not in it for as much as you would think, which is kind of annoying, because like they had such a good setup of her, and then she just like literally is like she leaves the movie with a throwaway line of like, this person's like, oh yeah, she's not here anymore, and that's it, and doesn't come back. And I was like, And the guy from what is that Jesse Eisenberg movie, Art of Self-Defense, the like guy that
Alessandro Nivola.
He's pretty good in this. he's in it, and he's pretty funny.
That's good.
Yeah. So those are all my South by movies.
Did you end up using the recorder? Did you interview anyone?
No. Oh. It's just, I don't know. I most of the times I would talk to people, it was mostly just like just talking about movies and talking about our experiences. And I guess I could have recorded it, but it felt like weird to do so. I do have plans for the recorder. Like I'm going to use it.
No,
Because
yeah.
that's one thing that I feel like I walked away with is not only seeing all these movies, but I just felt like I feel so inspired to make stuff. Um yeah, and I feel like it invigorated my um my creativity and like what film could do, you know, especially Everything Everywhere All at Once. I feel like that just seeing how they've turned like such small concept into such a weird like fucking movie. I feel like that really inspired me to turn like my experiences or like what I go through with like my mental health or just in everyday life into something cool.
Solid South by.
I would say so. I'm very excited to go again. Well, I mean that's it basically for South by. Well, I did leave out one movie that I saw, one premiere. But because we're about to talk about it after the break. In 1979, a group of young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in rural Texas. But when their reclusive elderly hosts catch them in the act, the cast find themselves fighting for their lives. Directed and written by Ty West, starring Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, and Brittany Snow.
Critics gave it a 7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes, and on Letterboxd, it has an average of 3.8 stars. Talk about your movie-going experience, because it was quite different. Like you said, you saw it. You saw the premiere of this movie.
I did. And I think, so the director, the people that were there was just the director. I don't remember the guy's name that played like the older gentleman in the, you know, the filmmaker, whatever, the group.
Martin Henderson.
Yes. Him, Brittany Snow, and then Kid Cudi, or as he was introduced, Scott Miscuddy, I think that's his name. So they were there before the movie started. The director introduced it by saying that it was the first, basically, I don't know how true it is, but he said it was the first time he was showing it to anybody other than like friends and family or just like, you know, people he knew. So we were like the first audience to see it in that kind of environment. So that was kind of cool. Like the environment was kind of cool. It was also surprisingly in like one of the smaller theaters that I watched movies at. It wasn't at the Paramount, which seats like 2,000 people or something. It was at the Stateside Theater, which seats like maybe 100, 200 people.
Wow.
And they said, I forgot how they said it, but it was the smallest, or the ratio of like how many people fit in the theater versus how many people had this on their schedule. Like it'll show you on the app how many people have favorited a certain movie. That was like so far off. Like they basically had so many people that wanted to watch this movie and like the smallest amount of seats to fit people in. So I think a lot of people, apparently the line was super long and like a lot of people didn't get in because it was so tiny.
How did you get in? You just were
I had
there
an
early?
express pass. So yeah, so that was kind of cool to be like one of the first people to watch it. I'm kind of sad that I didn't like it as much as I thought I would. This was like the most anticipated for me of the entire week, and I was pretty disappointed by it. I think I gave it like a 2.5 stars. But I was excited for you to see it, and I was excited to talk about it because I feel like I know I'm in the minority of like what people thought about this movie, because a lot of people that I know loved this movie so much.
Really, really liked it. And I get it. I watched it with two of my friends. I didn't pick it. I was like, what do you guys want to watch? And my friend Ricardo was like, let's watch X. And I was like, all right. I was going to watch it anyways. And both of the people I went with knew nothing about it. So it was like really fun because
I didn't know anything about it either. I haven't even seen a trailer for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew absolutely nothing.
I knew it was like, you know, I knew the basic premise. So I knew it was a lot of like gore, and obviously they're filming a porno. So a lot of that, and it was funny to see them because I just knew nothing. Walked out and they were just like, yeah, that was a wild ride. And it truly is a wild ride.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just wanted more, like I think it had a really good beginning. Like I was so intrigued by how it started by basically just showing us that everybody dies. Um, but I don't know. It's just like, I feel like it didn't live up to that creepiness for me.
Yeah, the creepiness, I don't think was entirely there. Especially with the old man. I kind of liked how at the beginning when you first introduce him, like you don't see his face.
Yeah.
At all until he brings them to the like where they stay and shoot. But I wish they had like kept it more secretive, like his face, or
At least for the woman too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, so a couple things. Like first, you could tell exactly who the final girl was going to be from like the very first scene, which I didn't mind as much, but I thought it would be, I thought they were going to like, try to make it seem like she was going to be the, final girl, and then somebody else ended up, surviving. At least Jenna Ortega, I was very surprised that how little they did with her. Like, I feel like towards the end, maybe like she, they kind of used that whole like they probably saw the beginning of Scream and was like, yeah, we need to have her just like scared and, limping around everywhere. But yeah, I don't know. The kills were really cool. I don't know what your favorite was. I really liked Jenna Ortega's. I feel like that one scared me the most because it was just out of nowhere.
Shit out of me, bro. There was a lot of jump scares that like got me, and I was like upset because my friends were just like, and I was, freaking out. They didn't move at all. I was like, why am I the only one getting scared?
It was also, I don't know if it was just the theater that I was in, but it was so incredibly loud. It was so loud.
The shotgun was like.
That was odd, but also that scene where, spoilers, but the scene with the old woman, the first kill where she kills the director, the music was so, like, I felt like I needed to plug my ears because it was so goddamn loud. But I don't know if it was just, that's why I'm excited to see it, because I was like, I feel like the sound at every single movie that I went to this week is just so loud. And I don't know why.
I felt like it was a decent, like, pretty average volume. But I will say that was one of my favorite. I had a lot of things that I really liked about the movie, but I just think overall it just didn't, like you're saying, it just didn't pay off as well. Just the ending. Like one of the things was the music. Like when the DP leaves and he starts the Don't Fear the Reaper plays.
Yeah. That was kind of cool.
Like, and the music at the, like, just throughout is like really, it just fits so well into the story, and it just I really liked it. Especially
a little strange. Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
A little strange that they had just a musical number for no reason. I don't know. I didn't understand that. Her singing Landslide, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, because that's right before Jenna Ortega is like, yeah, I'm gonna make a scene, right? Yeah.
I guess getting to that scene, I thought, I don't know, I just don't understand why. I don't know anything about Jenna Ortega's character. Like the fact that they just like kind of expected us to think like, oh yeah, she would just all of a sudden wants to do this. Like I thought they would at least show a little bit more of like what her relationship is with her boyfriend. When I was like, I don't even believe that they're a couple, honestly. And maybe that's the point, but like I was like, maybe I wish they would have had like show them try to get intimate and he doesn't want to, or that doesn't work, and that like she's craving that. But I feel like they just showed a scene of her, like they just did a close up of her watching them having sex, and then automatically we were supposed to think, oh yeah, she wants that. Like they didn't really have any sort of character development in that way. I don't think they really fleshed out any of the characters, honestly, other than like Mia Goth and then her old boyfriend.
Yeah, that's true. I was more focused on, or that scene where he goes in, because you can see them go to the back, and what was his name in it? Jackson Hole. Mm-hmm. He's like doing push-ups.
Yeah,
that was so
funny. Very funny.
But just that whole sequence where it's like, I don't really remember the music that was playing, but I think that's what I was gonna say. Is like even outside of the soundtrack, like the music, like that wasn't necessarily like a song. Just fits so well because like you could feel his like reservations, the boyfriend, when he like he just like picks up the camera and he's just like, oh man,
Yeah.
I don't know, like that music fit very well and I really like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like slow-mo or something, like some of that sequence, but I did like that. There were like sequences that I really like. I think as far as like the interesting usage of like, I don't know, it's like a good film. Like I didn't take so much the story. I think like some of it's interesting. Like with the final girl and she's like, somehow the like preacher's daughter or whatever. But more so like the filmmaking aspects, like when Mia Goth goes and has that lemonade in with the old lady and how that mirrored what they were shooting in the porno, like the story that they were making. That it was I found really interesting and I was like,
I
damn,
liked that.
that was probably my favorite part of the movie because it would cut between the conversation of like Brittany Snow would say like, oh, where's daddy at? Or you wouldn't want to be here when he's like, he would be really angry if he found out you were here. And then it cuts to Mia Goth and you're like, oh shit, there's two daddies
old guys,
about.
Two daddies. Ew. I liked that. I didn't understand that editing choice that they did a lot where it cut between, it like switched between, it felt like a transition. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they kept cutting. I don't understand if that was supposed to mean something. Or if it's just an editing
I'm not sure.
choice.
Like they're really quick cuts.
Yeah, and it just like, it's like it did it back and forth like 3 times and then it stopped. And I was like, that's kind of a cool transition, I guess, but I didn't understand what it meant. I also, like you said, like I think I like a lot of what the movie did, but the plot itself, I don't know if I understood. Like, I know that there was a lot of imagery, or not imagery, but there's a lot of like themes in this movie, probably about beauty or about aging. Like, I just don't, I think it was really lost on me. And one of the funny things, because they had a Q&A after, obviously, and one of the people asked, like, talk about the old people. And I think I didn't realize that people didn't, there's certain things that I'm like, I just fully understand of a movie, and I don't realize that people didn't catch. Like, for instance, remember in Batman when people were like, did the Riddler know that Bruce was Batman? And I was like, I thought it was so clear that he didn't. Like, I thought, to me, it was crystal clear.
Right.
But apparently a lot of people are confused by that. And for me in this movie, I thought it was clear as soon as we saw the old woman that that's Mia Goth. That was so clear to me that it was her. And the director said, yeah, that was her. And I was like, yeah, did people not catch that? Like, I thought they made it pretty obvious, but I mean, maybe not.
It took me a while. I only caught it because just because of like the editing and stuff like that. Like,
I knew as soon as they showed her. I was like, oh, I guess it's kind of interesting, but I don't understand the metaphor that they're making. And I was like, maybe I'm just dumb. I mean, which is very possible. Maybe it was just completely lost on me what they were trying to say, but it truly was. Like, I don't understand to this day what the whole point of so the old woman is so sexually repressed she needs to murder people. Like, what does that even mean?
Well, I think like the younger version, I don't know. It could be, maybe there's an argument that they're the same person. I mean,
yeah,
like, physically they are, like the actors are the same person, but like the characters, and I think it's a lot like, because that's what she was saying at the beginning. She was saying, I'm gonna be someone, and like she'll do whatever it takes to get to that point of like stardom where everyone will know her name. But the older lady, like, she wanted all that, but she didn't get it. And she sees someone who has that potential and is actually actively doing it, by starring in a porno that is going to be seen by a bunch of people. She's just like, if I can't have it, they shouldn't have it as either. It could be that. that's just me. I feel like it would probably benefit from a second watch, but I don't know
I
if
think
it would
so.
have. I don't know if it would have that same, like, shock. Like, because all of the deaths for me were like completely shocking, except for Kid Cudi. Like, I saw that coming, or a lot of them I saw coming, but I was like,
and
damn.
Britney Snow's too.
Yeah.
And that was a funny moment where somebody asked like, what were your favorite kills, and she said hers because she's from Florida, and so like she wherever or what someplace her family lived, they would always say like, dude, you need to watch out for the gators, and so she thought it was funny that that's how she was killed.
Yeah. Speaking of deaths, the producer in the barn. First off, the nail in the foot is like
classic.
That hurt. That hurt my foot. But so he gets stabbed in the eye with a pitchfork.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like cuts from it. We cut from it, and I kind of forgot about it. And then there's a hard cut to her yanking it out of.
Oh, that scared the shit out of me. I wish horror movies would do that more.
That was really smart. Like,
that was very smart.
Because I had, like I said, I forgot about it.
And it builds, I think, so Ty West, I don't know if I've seen a lot of his films, but I think he's really good at building tension, because the entire time it was just like the tension was palpable. But I don't know, maybe it's just I don't necessarily think you need to release tension when you're making a horror film, because you just want people to feel uncomfortable. But I don't know, there's like certain parts that I feel like it was a little predictable. I like when movies do that, something like that, because it makes you feel like not as safe of like, oh, I know what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that was the only time that happened. I also didn't understand the man being tied up in the basement.
I don't know.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure, I think they did explain it.
Yeah. I was lost because... Or one thing that confused me was at the beginning when because we see the result of the events of the night that we're about to see. And they like look into the basement and they're like, whoa. I thought there was going to be something that happened in the basement other than that guy just being
a man
there.
Being tied up. I mean, I guess that is jarring. I don't want to like, but yeah.
No, but I don't even think you could see that from just like looking down into the basement. Like, the architecture of the the basement, I think it was like offset like to the left a little bit, or I don't know, I thought someone was gonna die and it was gonna be like really horrific.
That's what I thought too.
Or someone would be alive and they were just like hiding down there. Terrible hiding spot. But it was funny. It's very smart, because you're like, oh, these are where people die, so you like already have it mapped out, and you're like, a character's in this spot, oh shit, they're about to die. Yeah,
that is kind of, especially if like I kept trying to think back to it, because I was like, I don't remember who dies here,
Yeah.
I also thought that the biggest laugh was whenever the old man died. That was really funny. I really liked that.
That was hilarious.
I think there's so much shit happened that you forgot about the whole heart thing, and you're like, oh, he survived, he survived having sex with his wife, he can survive this. So that was kind of funny.
Hilarious.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'll like it a little bit more when I watch it again. And I'm just excited. I was just telling Sebastian, like, whenever these movies come out and I take him to see them, I'm just going to be watching him the whole time.
Yeah.
Because I'm excited to watch this one with him. I don't know. I think we're going to watch it this week. But I'm sure I'll like it again. But I don't know. And the one thing I told you, too, I was like, because obviously it's about making a porno and the people in it are Britney Snow and Kid Cudi mostly, and I was like, imagine watching a lot of those scenes when they're in the room with you. How awkward that must be. I don't know if I could do that. I think they stayed the whole time from what I could tell.
Wow. That's interesting. On the big screen in front of a bunch of strangers.
Exactly. Just looking at your titties and you're just sitting there. I wonder what's more horrific, doing like seeing that or seeing like people watch you sing.
Ooh, probably on par.
I mean, she was fine. Like, she wasn't like, it wasn't bad. But I thought it was very funny when he started playing guitar, and I was like, I can't wait to see what he sings. And then she
Right.
starts singing, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely check it out. I mean, it was definitely a fun watch with a group of people. I think it would be cool, Halloween watch with like all like a Halloween party, and you just like do 3 shots every sex scene, you know. And by the end,
Or every time somebody gets killed too.
yeah, by the last sex scene with the pasty ass.
Oh God, I forgot. That was also very funny because people were just like, "Oh my God." Oh man.
Rough.
Solid experience watching. I don't hate it. I just, it was very meh to me. But I know a lot of people love it, so I'm glad people really liked it.
Cool. I don't think I have anything else.
Me neither. Been a good week. Solid week
Jealous.
of movies.
Nice. Well, next week, I don't know what's happening. The Oscars?
Oh shit, yeah. Or is it next week or this weekend? No, it's next week. I don't even know where I can watch. I don't have cable.
Oh, me neither.
Maybe I can try to find like a watch party somewhere. That'd be kind of funny.
All right. Thanks for listening to episode 119. We'll be back next week to talk about a movie. I don't know, but we'll be back.
Bye.
Bye.